In this video, I'd like to look at a small Python program that's going to read a JSON file from the internet. So here's the URL. It's just going to be a basic JSON file, so it's not a sort of a full-blown thing where there might be some parameters. So I'm going to show where the parameters might go, but this one has no parameters. It's just a very simple JSON file. So we're importing the JSON file. And then we're going to have the URL, import the JSON library, then have the URL where the JSON file is located. And then I have one method here that is commented out. So there is, we can import from the URL lib and bring in request and URL open, and then use that. So we are requesting the URL, and the headers is allowing us to sort of, I don't know, pretend we're a browser, that a user is using a browser, rather than pretending that we are a Python program, as we actually are, and then uh, read the file. So the URL points us to a file. We're pretending to be a browser, just a regular old user browsing that file, then read it in line 15 and get the data, and then take that text and use the JSON loads and create movie info. Okay, so that's all commented out. So that is a library that I don't need to install. And for me, I'm on a Windows machine. That one actually works fine. But somebody I know was on a Mac and that wasn't working for them. And so then the next alternative uh, is to bring in the requests library. Now, the request library is not sort of a standard thing that you can bring in. So the URL lib, I didn't have to do any like pip install of. I can just sort of go toward, I need to import it, but I didn't need to uh, do more. I didn't need to install. But requests, it doesn't understand that at first. And so for me, I had to do a pip install. For this other person on a Mac, I think they were doing a pip3 install. I'm going to do it, just show it down here in the command line, but I already have it. So it's going to run some stuff and say, hey, you've already got that. But it's pip install requests. And it's going through this and saying requirement already satisfied. So that's telling me been there, done that. But if for you it's the first time, you will, again, if this first approach worked, that doesn't require a pip install. But this other one's a little more robust, but it requires the pip install. So then, similar to what was up here, with the headers, we are pretending to be some browser. Okay, so I just want to give some credit where it's due. There was a nice video about using this, sort of much more detail than what I'm giving here. And then there are a bunch of these possible user agents. So I'm just picking one here. This big long thing is just one possible version of a user agent, but here's a site where you could find other user agents. So then again, this header is for us to pretend that we are a browser rather than a Python program. Some of the things, you might be doing some kind of a search to limit. So you might be saying, I don't want all of the information that is available, but I want some subset of it. I want to sort of pick out a particular year, or if it's movie data, pick out a particular movie or something like that. But so I'm just showing you that these, because we're doing JSON, and JSON's like an API. So within certain APIs, you can sort of make more specific the search by having parameters. So and a parameter would be like a key value pair, sort of say, I want year 2002 or something like that. But I'm just saying there may be such a thing in general. I don't have one. So but it's a dictionary, a set of key value pairs. So I set up an empty dictionary. Okay. And then so finally I'm ready to use this request library. I pip installed it and I imported it. So here's the import. So once I pip install, I only have to do that once, then import it whenever I'm using it. And fake header parameters if you have them, and then you do the requests with the get, the URL we defined above. The parameters here was an empty dictionary, but you might have them in general, and the headers to pretend you're some browser. And then you've all read all this, you get this response. A response may be a fairly complicated thing, like a status code or something like that, but we specifically want the text. And so then we are taking the text of the response and using the JSON library to create this movie info. And then having gone to this site, I know that this movie info is, in terms of JSON, it's an object, and it has a property IMDb top. These are the top movies from the IMDb site, at least whenever it is I extracted this data. And so then this is an array. So this property is an array in JSON language. In Python language, it's a list. And then I'm looping over it and then printing out some of the properties. Okay, so let's run that. So this is just showing the movies, the various movies, their rank, their title, and the year. And I'm putting it, the rank, then a dot, then the title, and then the year in parentheses. So that's what I'm getting out there. So we're going out to the web and getting this. That's from something previous. So that's what I wanted to show you. JSON file from the internet. There was an approach where we use the URL library, which doesn't require pip install, but the request library seems to be a little bit more robust. At least Macs don't have a problem with it. And read the file, do the request base, use this library to get our request, and then interpret the results, the text, as JSON, and then do some JSON manipulation here, just putting it out in the console. Okay, that's all I wanted to show here. Thanks for your attention.